What is going on, guys? Paul Ryan back at it again. I hope everybody's having a good night. First and foremost, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to our latest episode where CD Pickett and I did a first full round mock draft for the entire NFL. Well, I say me and CD Piglet. It was more so CD Piglet doing all the heavy lifting there, but still a fun exercise. And again, thank you to everybody for tuning in. It was reported today that Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas, was next to visit the Dallas Cowboys. And when you look at the Cowboys' 30 visits, at least the ones that we know about so far, the ones that have taken place, of the 16 players that have come to visit the Cowboys, 9 of them have been offensive players. We've had 3 wide receivers, Tisori McMillan, Amika Egbuka, and Luther Burden. 4 running backs with Ashton Genty, Omarion Hampton, Ollie Gordon, and Bashul Tutin. And then we've had 2 offensive linemen, 1 offensive guard. I forgot to look at his name, please forgive me. And then we had the offensive tackle, Kelvin Banks, out of Texas, signaling to me that the Cowboys are more than likely going to be going offense at pick 12. And I got to say, man, I think that's the right move, especially in this draft and especially where the Cowboys are picking. We heard Stephen Jones say last week that the Cowboys are looking for an explosive wide receiver, too, to pair with CeeDee Lamb. And Matthew Golden, what is he? He's an explosive wide receiver. Emeka Egbuka, what is he? He's an explosive wide receiver. Luther Burden, what is he? An explosive wide receiver. And of course, Ted McMillan, arguably the wide receiver one in this draft class, an explosive receiver. Kind of Cowboys, I don't want to say revealing their hand, but letting it be known kind of what their idea is heading into the 2025 season. And I got to say, man, it's pretty exciting. You think about the season that we had last year, it was really, I guess, brought to light that this Cowboys team was really missing some offensive weapons. And when you have a guy like Dak Prescott, when you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb, you can really benefit from strengthening that unit. I know it sounds silly, right? To think about when you have a guy like Dak and you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb, how much better can you get? But look at the Cincinnati Bengals, right? With Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and Chase Brown, right? And then even the addition of Mike Gesicki, having so many weapons. I thought Zach, our guest, not just our Zach Double Move, he was a guest on the podcast last week. He brought up a good point how the last couple of years, the Cowboys offense, Dak has had to like nickel and dime his way to the red zone to scoring touchdowns, and that's because there was a lack of weapons in this Cowboys offense. And I'm very high on not just CeeDee Lamb, but I'm very high on Jake Ferguson. I was pretty high on Tony Pollard when he got his chance to start. I know, the year that he did get his chance to start, he didn't have the year that we had all anticipated coming off of that major injury, and rightfully so. You see what he was able to do in Tennessee, kind of looking like the player that we hoped he would be here in Dallas. But that's neither here nor there. But then we also saw even Rico Dowdle, how his emergence, what he was able to do for our offense without Dak Prescott, and even some games without CeeDee Lamb. I bring these up is to say that the more weapons you have, the more complementary football you can play, whether it be in the passing game or in the running game, and just making Dak's life easier and making your defense's life easier. And you look at the state of our defense, there's some excitement there with guys like Deron Bland and, the re-signing of Osa and, of course, Micah Parsons and, what can we get out of Marshawn Nealand. But there's also a lot more question marks about how is Trayvon Diggs going to look? Who's going to be playing our slot corner? Our safeties are a little bit older. Will we see how will Hooker and Donovan Wilson look in the system, or will we see more Marquise Bell and Wanye Thomas? There's a few questions at linebacker as well with Overshown recovering from his injury. Of course, we're all excited about Maurice Luafu, but there's some questions with our linebacker depth, and then of course with the defensive line, yeah, of course we bring back Osa, and we have Micah and Nealand, but we would like to see some maybe that unit get strengthened there. If we can better our offense, then we can do our defense more favors. And what looks to probably be a offensive heavy draft, we might not get enough resources to have the defense that Matt Eberflus needs to successfully run his defense. So I'm getting more and more excited about what the Cowboys will potentially do, not just at pick 12, but in this entire draft. I think it's going to be hopefully a Dak heavy type of draft, but we will see. Hopefully we can find a way to better the offense and also, add a few more pieces on defense that maybe this defense can be better than some of us anticipate. But yeah, I just found it interesting that Matthew Golden is the next 30 visit for the Cowboys, and I know some people aren't really thrilled with him as potentially being the pick, especially with the thought that he might be the pick over a Ted McMillan. But I think he would be a great addition to this offense and a great compliment to CeeDee Lamb and his play style. But let me know what you guys think. Do you like the idea of Matthew Golden at pick 12, or would you rather have Ted McMillan, or are you an Amika Egbuka guy, or do you think maybe the Cowboys could go Omarion Hampton at pick 12? That's somebody who is rumored to go at pick 12 as well for these Cowboys. Let me know in the comments, guys. As always, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Paul Ryan. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.